It was a year and a half ago when my brother, who did a lot of my build-out, cabinetry and stuff, we went out by the airport to pick up my first 25 bicycles. And we're riding down the highway, and it's like, I never owned a new bicycle in my life. What do you think of that, Richard? And now I got a whole frickin' truck full of them. There was a catering service in here when we moved in. So actually, it was a couple of drunks that lasted 3 months, never paid their rent. I love it because of the diversity. And in the suburbs, predominantly the shops are oriented more to be a bike store than a bike shop, selling bicycles and just doing warranty repairs, which is pretty parochial in my view. I like the mindset of a bike shop. You know, we're labor intensive, do a lot of specialty work, cater to a lot of commuters, some semi-pro riders, a lot of messengers, people in the neighborhood, a whole eclectic mix. I think the primary concern is empathy for the customer, where they're coming from, get a feel for where they're coming from, and make sure they go out the door pleased. They're pleased enough to talk about it. I hate being mainstream. I hate the idea. I don't want to be a Me Too. You know, it'd be easy to go with some of the big names that are big in Chicago, like Schwinn, Trek. And I just didn't want to be a Me Too. We're more of an alternative shop. We're probably the only shop in northern Illinois that displays this many cranksets, because it's a rep. One of my reps, one of the larger bike companies, came in and says, "What the hell? What are you doing here? You have all these cranks out there. Why don't you put more pumps and stuff out here?" Well, we put them out here, and that's what sells. That's what we do. You know, we're into the parts. We're into the components. We're not just into accessorize. But the emphasis for the shop has been in the in repairs, customizing, build-ups, labor-intensive.
You know, I usually pride myself in being methodical, and I try not to work too fast and not too slow. I like to do things right. You know, I know what, you know, so far I know what works, and I'm still learning more as far as what doesn't work. This is my bench, and, you know, I know it well, and I like them all, man, to be quite honest with you. We have dropout aligners. These two right here. We got frame benders right here. We got our gauges, headset press. Okay, without this, life would be a nightmare. Trying to get those little cups in and out of the frame. Bottom bracket tool. That's another favorite of mine. We have a frame repair stand jig here. And this actually works out miracles. Guys come in with twisted frames, and we get to do the body work on them.
My family was pretty poor when I was young. My dad didn't really do well till I was about a teenager, when I got my first 3-speed. And I smacked the front wheel. I seem to have a history of that. It's common. We do a lot of fork replacement here, too. But I smacked my front wheel, bent it all up. And he says, go to the shop and ask him for a rim. So I came back with the rim, and he said, okay, now put it on those spokes. It's like, well, Dad, how do you do that? He says, you'll figure it out. Just copy what's on the back wheel. So for a truing mechanism, I didn't know there was such a thing as a truing stand. I just took the shoes out of the calipers and put a bolt on each side and followed the pattern in the back, and that was my first wheel build. I think I was about 12 years old then. Wheel building is a big portion of our business. Last year it was 25% of our gross was just wheels. And I hear it a lot. You know, everyone that builds wheels thinks they're a wheel builder. And we see so much stuff coming here. Like, who put this together? This is just assembled. This is not a build. We cold forge the spokes into the hubs. We pre-stress them. I've got feeler gauges for really high-end truing. It's a big emphasis. We don't just talk about it. We really throw our life into it.
I was about 7, my first bike. And, you know, we didn't have a lot of money in the family, so, you know, a bicycle was, as far as what I'm concerned, was a luxury. So my first bike was a serious approach. Stock, bike out of the box, and from the get-go, I was submerged by just the mechanics, and I wasn't pleased with the colors that I had, you know. So I went ahead and stripped the bike, color it myself. It was a very cheap bike, I tell you, but I wanted to be like the rest of the guys out there with the money, and little by little, you know, here I am. All the greatest cyclists in the world worked on their own bikes. You know, Eddie Merckx, Fausto Coppi, Ernesto Conago. I mean, Belgium's, you know, it's been going on since the 1800s, and it's still going on now. So, you know, you have to know your machine. It's like a car. It's like anything else, you know, that has rolling capability.
This is my old touring bike, which is pretty much outdated now. Gold everywhere. Gold and blue, I was in it. Cubs colors, Chicago Cubs. Here's another pretty bike we just did. This guy wanted us to whip this baby together. He spent about $3,500 on it. And without even test riding it, put it back in a box and ship it out to Oregon so he could go on a 2-week tour. It's like, okay, he came back delighted. I had all these nightmares. He's going to say, oh no, you told me those wheels will never bend. You told me this thing, blah, blah, the fit and all that. But he was happy anyway. And so he brought it back for us to clean it up. And it's been hanging here now for 3 months.
Messenger brought in a fork. The fork was, it was bonded. From the manufacturer, there will be welding involved in there, you know, to bond the two pieces together. But this messenger went ahead and bonded it himself with liquid steel, which is it's a hard resin material, but it's not steel. Or aluminum, which is, you know, what we're talking about here. And I just have my morals and my ethics, and I have experience. Cycling is really bound by the loss of kinetics, you know, and energy. Energy sometimes could be very destructive if it's unleashed all at once, and we're bound by those kinetic loss. You know, it's amazing. So it's you know, it's a body, soul, and mind type of experience. So sometimes you have to be very careful what you're doing out there. Every day, I learn more. I don't think I'm not a master mechanic yet. It takes years and years of experience, and even at that, what we're doing here is not what any other shop, even in the burbs or even locally, is doing.
And the great part is, I'm out of space, and then yesterday morning I pull up out in front. I'm not even in the store. A truck pulls up with another bunch of bikes unannounced. Where am I gonna put them? What I like about it, sometimes I forget because I get so caught up in the business side of it. I initially got in here because I like working on bikes and I love bicycles. But I find myself on the phone more often than anything. My nails rarely are ever dirty anymore. But purchasing, sometimes it gets to be a lot of fun hunting stuff down, finding new products, playing with them to see how they work and how we can alter stuff, modify it. And when shipments come in, it's like every day is like Christmas. Oh, look at this. Wow, this is cool. I like the customer base. It's always, I love going out on the floor and just talking about bicycles.